What is up, YouTube? This is a full day of eating, plus I'm going to give you guys some dieting tips on how to structure a diet, what a good diet looks like, and just kind of walk you through what I do and why I do it. So let's get into it.
All right, I just woke up and showered. It's like 7 a.m. So I'm about to get into my first meal. I'll show you what I'm having. First meal here, 80 grams of oats. 80 grams mixed with 220 milliliters of 1% milk. And then 1 scoop of protein powder. Pretty simple. You will see this exact meal again. So I'm gonna eat this, and then I got a couple classes, and then I'll see you back in a few hours for meal number 2. Okay, still meal 1. We're having 2 slices of sourdough bread with a little bit of honey. I would be completely satiated and fine with the oats, but I do have a pretty small appetite, so if I just keep eating smaller meals, it's gonna come the end of the day and I still have to eat half my calories, and then I'm just gonna cram before bed, and then it's gonna affect my sleep quality and everything, so I kind of have to force myself to eat more in every meal. Okay, this is gonna be not even really a meal, I'm gonna call this a snack. All right, so I'm gonna eat this, go do my cardio, and then I'll be back shortly for meal number 2.
All right, I got the C4 cereal killer. I want to try it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, actually. It doesn't sound that good, but I don't know. If people are giving it good reviews, then I gotta try it. That's way better than I expected. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. This is actually really good.
Where are you now? Where are you now?
Okay, ignore the absolute mess of my room, but I'm gonna start giving you guys some tips on just how to structure a good diet. So first of all, the most important thing and how you're gonna control your weight and your goals is calories. Everyone should know the calories are most important. If you wanna lose weight, you have to eat in a calorie deficit, meaning you're burning more calories than you're eating. If you wanna maintain, eat the same calories you're burning. Gain weight, you get it. So you're probably wondering, well, how do you figure out how many calories to eat? So online, you can actually find a good amount of calorie, maintenance calorie calculators, or TDEE calculators, total daily energy expenditure. You fill in a few things, it'll give you a good estimate of about how many calories you burn in a day, and that is your maintenance calories. Then you want to figure out your macronutrients. We have protein, fats, carbs, and alcohol. We're really just going to focus on the 3 because don't even get me started, but you shouldn't be drinking alcohol. So a good rule of thumb for protein is 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Say you weigh 150 pounds, that's going to be 120 to 180 grams of protein per day. Also, it depends a little more on lean mass. If you're 300 pounds and you're severely overweight, you don't need 300 grams of protein. Okay, fats, 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. So again, if you weigh about 150 pounds, it's 50 to 75 grams of fat. A lot of people hear the word fat and think that's bad. You eat fats, you gain fat. Not necessarily. Unfortunately, a lot of foods that are high in fats are pretty easy to overeat. Things like peanut butter, definitely fast food, stuff like that. And there's good and bad kinds of fats as well. So make sure it's coming from good sources, of course. But if you're in a deficit, you should not be cutting out your fats and getting your fats super low, because fats are essential for hormone regulation. And when your fats get too low, all your hormones get out of place. You have no testosterone, your sleep is going to be terrible, your recovery is going to be terrible. So really try to prioritize that. Make sure you're getting enough fats, but also don't overeat them. And then lastly, carbs. You already know your calories. Protein is 4 calories per gram, fat is 9, carbs are 4. So you figured out your protein, your fat, you can do the calculation, you know how many calories you have left, just fill in the space with carbs. And of course, make sure it's coming from good sources. You should try to prioritize timing your carbs around your workout. So eat your highest carb meal right before the workout and right after. Carbs are your body's main source of energy. Again, I think people think carbs are bad for you. If you don't eat carbs, again, you're gonna feel terrible, your recovery is gonna be terrible. But because fats and proteins are also super important, when you're eating in a calorie deficit, carbs just happen to be the thing that you tend to have to cut out. And that is why timing is so important. All right, meal 2 or 3, whatever you want to call it, is really just the same thing as meal 1. We got 80 grams of oats, 220 milliliters of milk, and then a scoop of protein powder. I went with Rise this time just to switch it up, but this is really just one of my favorite meals. Obviously, you couldn't tell. Oats are a great source of carbs. Definitely recommend this meal. Just oats in general, if you haven't. Definitely will keep you full longer. Absolutely slammed that meal. Now I'm just gonna have a green apple. Don't let me find out you guys aren't getting your micronutrients in. And by the way, green apples are a top 3 fruit maybe. If you don't agree, you just don't know ball. But that being said, I'm going to show all my calories and macros at the end of the day. Also, peep the protein stash, the TikTok shop stash. It's growing by the day. I have to prep my next meal. I would show you, but my phone is genuinely out of storage. So I'll just show you once it's all cooked up and I'm ready to eat it. All right, meal 3 or 4, whatever we're on, we got 8 ounces of 85-15 ground turkey, 260 grams of sweet potatoes, and then some broccoli. And then, obviously, you already know, sugar-free GQs, 10 calories per serving. All right, now I'm gonna talk a little bit about meal timing and macronutrient timing. So just overall meal timing, I would say just try and space them out pretty evenly. Like if you eat a meal and then already like an hour or two later, you find yourself going back in the pantry, like looking for another meal or a snack, you know, that might be a problem because if you just keep eating without enough time in between, first of all, you're not gonna properly digest everything, but you're gonna get too ahead of your calories and either go over your calories or realize like, oh crap, I only have a few hundred calories left and you know, you have half the day left. So try and space it out, and that way you won't be dealing with as much hunger either. You might have a little bit of hunger in between meals, but I think that's better than, you know, having a big gap where you're not eating and then you're like super hungry, you know? And for macronutrients, so we already talked about carbs. You should be eating most of your carbs primarily right before your workout and after, and then the rest just kind of sprinkled. And then protein, I would say just pretty evenly throughout the day. Also, fast digesting carbs versus slow digesting carbs. What's the difference and how do we utilize these? So slow digesting carbs, you know, it is what it sounds like. They take longer to digest, but they're gonna fill you up longer and give you longer lasting energy. Fast digesting carbs get in your system quicker, give you that more, you know, immediate energy, but you kind of crash from them or it doesn't last as long. Oats are a great source of slow digesting carbs, so very satiating and will keep you full for longer and give you good energy, like steady energy throughout the day. You know, that's why I kind of have it in the morning, but I wouldn't eat a big bowl of oats right before the gym, because right before the gym, we'll say 30 to 90 minutes before your workout, you're gonna want more fast digesting carbs that will get in your system right away and you can actually use that energy for your workout. So fast digesting carbs, yeah, rice cakes, fruit.
Editing this right now, holy brain fart. Think rice, specifically white rice. Brown is going to be more slow digesting. Obviously rice cakes, fruit, anything more processed like bread and cereal. Potatoes, specifically like regular white potatoes. Sweet potatoes are going to be more slow digesting.
So that you're going to want to have like closer proximity to your workout. So if you know, like if you're just eating and then going straight to the gym, you know, you have like 30 to 60 minutes, have some more like fast digesting carbs. If you're gonna like, for me,
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do a class, and then I go straight to the gym from class. So I know that there's like 2 hours between the time I eat my meal and when I'm actually going to the gym.
hydration. But on top of just water, you should be taking electrolytes. Electrolytes help with everything from like sleep to muscle function, cognitive function. Yes, you can find these on my TikTok shop account. This is something that I started implementing recently and it's been a big change and a big help for me. And that's not eating too close to bed. And that's because you don't want your body to be like actively trying to digest food while you're trying to sleep. Like straight up, it's just gonna tank your sleep quality. So I try to stop eating or like finish my last meal a good 2 to 3 hours before I go to bed. This kind of goes without saying, but track your calories every single day as accurately as possible. All right, I promise this is my last bowl of oats today. We got another 80 grams of oats, 200 milliliters of milk, a serving of peanut butter, and then a banana. So not the exact same as the last 2 oatmeals, but yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite meals of the day. Then after this, I'll have just enough calories for a bowl of popcorn. So I'm gonna eat this and then see you for the popcorn. All right, it's about 8:30. I'm having my final meal or snack, just a bag of Smart Pop popcorn, 240 calories for the whole bag, and it's 8 grams of protein. So this will finish off my calories for the night. Also taking my creatine, flavored creatine. All right, and the last tip I want to give, and it's probably like one of the most important ones, is just adding cardio. It's super simple. You burn more calories, you get to eat more calories. Whether you're in a deficit, eating at maintenance, I think no matter what, you should do cardio. Yes, it's obviously healthy for your heart, but say without cardio, your maintenance is 2,500 calories. Just add 300 calories of cardio. Now you can eat an additional 300 calories and still be in a deficit, you know, no matter what your goals are. Yes, obviously a calorie deficit is achievable without cardio, but if you do cardio, you get to eat like a whole extra meal in the day and you're getting more nutrients in. I do 30-minute Stairmaster level 8 and 10,000 steps every day, and you'll see my total calories for the day is like 3,400. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else for you guys. So as always, I appreciate the support. Appreciate you for watching. Just trying to make every video better than the last. So if you got any recommendations, let me know.
Also, last thing real quick, yesterday was my birthday, so if we can smash 20 likes for my 20th birthday, that would be sick. I know y'all got me. Again, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.